Welcome to all of you. Again, this is Andrea with Nutrition Commission. And today I really want to talk about how you can manage your chronic pain through the power of nutrition. So many of us probably have done, again, a lot of research and are already following perhaps different anti-inflammatory diets or even paleo or autoimmune protocols, as they're called, with a lot of restrictive eating, which is definitely helpful to manage the inflammation and consequently the chronic pain. But I want to be a little bit more deliberate today in terms of targeted foods and kind of why and how, just so that there's a connection there between what you're doing and why it is or maybe is not helping you, okay? But let's again recap why we perhaps are experiencing chronic pain. And I think it's important to know that chronic pain is actually the result from different acute signals your body's been giving you or specific points in time of acute inflammation or acute pain. And now, because those triggers may not have been resolved, or maybe we were unable to get to the root cause, now we found ourselves in a progressing situation, which is where we come in with the word chronic, okay? It's been something that's been left untreated or unaddressed, and now it is this low-grade inflammation that just really never goes away. And same with the chronic pain, where you can have your flare-ups, or you can kind of feel the pain, but it's not debilitating. And then again, there are those days where we have debilitating pain and you can't walk and you can't get out of bed and all that fun stuff. So the causes of how do we get to that point, right, are the usual suspects: the poor diet, especially if we're eating a standard American diet. That's obviously why a lot of us are even in this group, because we've already gotten to the point where we're diagnosed with illness and we're trying to do what we have to do to pivot and go a different way. But the refined carbohydrates, I swear this group of crappy carbs should be made illegal, because it really is the jumping off point for so many blood sugar issues, autoimmune issues, cancers, diabetes, heart disease, you name it. And I'll try to explain it as high level as I can. But the poor diet, absolutely, anything that we're eating that's in a box essentially is refined. You can kind of think of it as destabilizing to your blood sugar, right? And it's usually they've taken all the nutrition out and then they fortify it with or enrich it by adding things back that are from chemistry, really, not even by nature. It's just crazy. So the poor diet, also poor digestion over the years, from stress, poor diet, medicines. We have a digestive system that's really not running on all cylinders, and you're eating food. Even in your best attempts to get the right foods in your body, your digestion is compromised. What that means is you might not be producing enough stomach acid. You might not be producing enough digestive enzymes to break things down and to kill off the pathogens that are entering your system. And that really is the irony of it all. Because once the food a food item enters the system, it is, as they say, it can either be viewed as poison or as medicine, right? So we want to make sure that we address that too. And I'll have some suggestions in terms of food to help boost the power of your gut flora and how that works to really keep that inflammation down. And again, lack of movement and the chronic stress, all these causes that are contributing to the inflammation in the body, and if left unresolved, contributes to chronic pain. And we can feel that chronic pain when things enter the body, like I said, through the gut. And the gut sees some particle or some chemical or, whatever agent that has entered the body, it sees it as a foreign invader. And once the gut sees that, or the immune system detects it as an invader, it's also sending signals to our brain and the nervous system that, okay, we need more help. Send in help, send in help. And that's where the immune system is rallied into that local area to try to disarm that foreign invader. So that's another reason why, even if we're doing our very best, we got to make sure we're also addressing some of the digestion compromise too, because whatever enters the body, your gut is also sending a signal to the brain and the nervous system, and it triggers your immune system to respond to that foreign invader. Through food, we want to be more deliberate in terms of the foods that we choose to enter the body, okay? So we talked about the causes. We've talked about some of the, how do we get into a chronic situation and the impact that those food choices have, even on our nervous system, from the gut to the nervous system, and then it's calling in the immune system to help break something down or disarm it, right? And that's that cycle of inflammation. And also just the triggers when this starts to happen, this secondary reaction, the nervous system is triggered, the immune system's coming in, and it's starting to see in its overwhelmed capacity, it's starting to see that there's all these foreign invaders, and it also starts attacking the tissues and the organs, okay? And that also, again, keeps exacerbating the problem. More inflammation, more chronic pain. So what can we do? And I had to make sure, again, I want to always give you guys some very deliberate, focused information. What are the key foods that we can and should eat? Now, again, most of us are already steering towards that anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle, which is phenomenal. I'm going to be more targeted, however, in the foods that I would recommend you incorporate into your diet daily. Should you stick with it and stay consistent, you should start to see some improvements in your mobility, and you should see some of that chronic pain lessened over time. Number one, actually, balancing omega-6s to 3s. Okay, so let's just assume that you've already removed refined carbohydrates, okay, which is really, really important. Because there is a pathway that our cells go through to release certain unhealthy fats in the body. So for example, if the omega-6s and 3s are not in balance, or the source of the fat is considered refined and crappy and all that yucky stuff, the cells really don't know how to balance that yucky stuff with hopefully a reserve of good stuff. And if we don't have enough of the good stuff sitting there, what happens is the cell membrane starts to kind of like sweat. It literally starts sweating out the inflammatory fats. Literally, it's a cascade. It's called an inflammatory cascade. It's crazy. So if we're eating too many omega-6s and not enough 3s, because everything in our body is about balance, the cells are going to be secreting this omega-6 inflammatory fat, and that contributes to the overall chronic inflammation and also contributes to the joint, the tissue, chronic pain that you're experiencing too. So what do we do about it? All right, make sure we're eating definitely the cold water fish. So salmon, wild caught salmon, not the farmed fish, please, which is genetically modified, but wild caught, which is in perfect balance, and your body knows and recognizes and can break it down and use it as it's intended. But you also have different sources like flax seeds, which are really good. You could do up to 2 tablespoons a day of flaxseed, which also has amazing anti-cancer benefits. You could also do chia seeds, hemp seeds, and avocados obviously are going to give you a good source of healthy fat. But these nuts and seeds are great for the omega-6 to 3 balance, and I would highly recommend you start including them in your diet. I would also recommend, again, ginger, turmeric. Most of you are probably already doing that anyway, but if you even have an opportunity to sprinkle ginger and turmeric on any of your dishes and you can tolerate it well, cooking spices are great as opposed to just supplements. I want to recommend that you do that too. And then number 4, I would say, is adding cruciferous vegetables. So these are the broccolis, the cauliflowers, the Brussels sprouts, Some of the cabbages, again, you got to kind of watch that because those can create some bloat, and they're a little bit sugary. So you got to just kind of watch that too in balance. But broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, definitely make those a mainstay in your diet. Make sure you're eating one of them a day. Quite frankly, I know that's what I've been doing in my household for 6 years now. Very important because it works on not only reducing the toxicity in the liver, but it reduces the inflammation in the body. Then I would also, again, last but not least, anything, when you think about this, the colors of the rainbow, okay, that's basically what you want to be eating. When you have a very colorful plate, as many different colors that you can put into that, then you know you're eating antioxidant rich foods. And these antioxidant rich foods are what you need to put the fire out in your body. All of the functions in the body are producing what's called oxidative stress. It's just a natural occurrence in the body as it's metabolizing and breaking things down and converting into different things. It's producing a byproduct. You can call it circulating complexes, or things that are going around considered waste. And if we don't have enough of the rainbow foods, okay, I'll just leave it at that, rainbow foods, to put that flame out, that's where the chronic inflammation, the chronic pain continues to manifest. Rainbow colored foods are the wet blanket in your body that's going to put the flame of inflammation out, and it's going to help stop the cycle of this chronic pain and inflammation in your body. Okay, so I want to leave you with those key food recommendations for all the foods that I've mentioned when it comes to the healthy omega-6s and 3s. Again, the flax seeds, the chia seeds, the hemp seeds, walnuts, cold water fish. If you like sardines, even great, eat them with the bones because they're a great source of calcium too. Wild-caught salmon, to ginger, turmeric as spices for any foods that you're eating. To also the cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the Brussels sprouts, incorporating these foods daily in some way, shape, or form. And then, of course, the big category of any rainbow colored foods, reds, greens, purples, oranges, again, the more color, the better, because those in its kind of synergistic effects work to really put the flame of inflammation out in your body and will reduce the amount of chronic pain that you're experiencing. So these would be my top food groups, ladies. If you have any further questions or comments, please put them in the chat box, and I'd be happy to get back to you just as soon as possible. And until next time, ladies, all my best. Take care. Bye-bye.